In this session, I'm going to discuss about the problem 8 in part A of Java lab. The problem reads as follows. We are supposed to create a class called as matrix that would contain integers values having varied number of columns for each row, and we are supposed to print the row wise sum. Now, what is this problem all about? Now, whenever we talk about matrix, we know that matrix is nothing but rectangular arrangement of numbers. So we have the different rows in the matrix, as well as we get different columns in the matrix. But when we think of a matrix, we generally assume that the matrix is rectangular in shape, and all the rows within the matrix contains same number of elements. The values may be different, but same number of elements. For example, the row with the index 0 has 4 elements, namely 10, 11, 12 and 13. Similarly, if you take the row with the index 2, also contain 4 elements. The values may be different, like 12, 13, 14 and 15. So every row contains 4 number of elements. That need not be true. So what the problem says is, you may have a matrix that has varied number of elements. For example, if you look at this particular matrix, the index 0 contains only 2 elements, namely 1 and 2. The index row with the index 2 contains 3 elements. Row with the index 1 contains 4 elements. So if you look at here, the total number of elements, or in other words total number of columns for every row is varied. Some of them may have 2 elements, some of them may have 4 elements, 6 elements, 10 elements and so on and so forth. So that is the meaning of saying you have a matrix that has varied number of columns for each row. So in every row there will be different number of columns. So how do we create such a matrix? Let us look at the problem first. We are supposed to create a class with the name matrix. So let me go to the NetBeans and let me go to the new project, and I'm going to select Java as my application. Click next, and you can give any name to your project. I'm going to give it as matrix demo. You can give any name. Click finish, and Java will create a main class for you, and within this main class, let me close all the others. Okay, so here within this matrix demo, I'm going to click on this package and I'm going to say new. So right click and say new. So you have a project matrix demo. Under this you click on this plus sign, it is going to open. Click on this plus sign, it's going to open. Click here, right click, new, Java class. You notice you get the option Java class. Click on this Java class. It's going to ask you for the name of the class. So name of the class is you're going to get like this, name of the class. I'm going to call it as matrix. Why I'm calling it as matrix is because in the question they have said that you have to create a class with the name matrix, and that is what you are doing. So you are creating a class with the name matrix. Click finish. Now what must be there within this class? You definitely need a matrix. So I'm going to create a matrix, and according to them they said this particular matrix would contain integer values. So let's fix the integer matrix. I'm going to say int. I'm going to call it as mat with 2 dimension. Okay, so you have 2 dimension matrix with you. Next thing is I would like to know how many rows are there within this matrix. With that, let us create a method that will accept the row. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say public void, okay, set row count. Okay, you can give anything, set row count. I'll take int x and it takes a value x. I'm going to set r is equal to x and I'm going to initialize the matrix. Mat is equal to new integer count, row count that was given, and I don't know the columns. So because columns are varying. So what is that? If you are wondering what did I do? So I am saying, remember, I am saying how many rows will be there. That is what is the meaning of saying row count. So how many rows are there? It is not 3, it is 4. This is first row, second row, third row, fourth row. So you may have 5th row, 6th row, 10th row and so on and so forth. How many rows are there? That is what I am asking here. So this is what is the meaning of it. I am asking set the row count. How many rows will be there? Okay. Then I am going to write one more method here. Okay. I will write one more method. Let me write it as public void, and I am going to say, okay, set elements. Okay, now this particular method will take the row number, okay, row number, and it's going to take an integer array. I'm going to call it as ARR. Okay. So what is that I am doing here? So suppose if you are wondering what is that I am doing. So I have first set how many rows will be there. That part is over. The next part is I am going to say for this row. So row number 0, row number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. Index, row index 0, 1, 2, 3. How many elements will be there? So remember, if you look at this one, this is actually an array. Okay, this is also an array. You know what is an array? In C you have studied about array. So this is an array, this is an array, this is an array. So I am saying, okay, for the row with the index 1, so give me this row index and give me this array, and I'm going to set that thing for the matrix. So that is what I am asking here. Give me the row number, and that is this row number, that whatever you are saying, give me this row number and give me the corresponding array. Suppose if you say this is your row number and this is your array, I'm going to set it there. So you supply those two things here. So you supply the row number, for example I'm going to supply the row number 2 and the corresponding array. So whatever array you have created with the 2 elements, 10 elements, 15 elements, whatever the array, that is up to you. You give me the array and I'm going to set that thing. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so how do we set that thing? So it is very simple. You have the matrix with you. Let me zoom in for you. You have the matrix with you, and for the matrix, for the corresponding row number, so this is the row number they are giving. This is the row number they are giving. Set the value as ARR. Okay, that's all. You set the element. Okay, this is the array they are giving. So it is like they are giving you the row number 2, and they are giving you an array. Sorry, they are giving you an array. Okay, they are giving you an array like this. You take this array, row number 2, go to the matrix, row number, this is, I assume that this is the index, row number that is row index 2, and you set the array, whatever array that they have given, you just set it. For this row, you set the array. That is what I have done. For this row, for this row number, you set the array. The last thing that they expect you to do is print the row number sum. Okay, I'm going to print the matrix and then I'm going to print the sum along with it. So let me write a public void, okay, and row wise sum. Okay, let me write this method. So row wise sum, first let's print the matrix. So how do you print? For I is equal to 1 up to the number of rows. Okay, that is done. Okay, you got the row. And for j is equal to, you know very well, when you print for j is equal to what? J is equal to matrix, okay, ith row, and find the length of the matrix. Okay, so what did I do? So generally, whenever you print the matrix, you say for I is equal to 1 to n, I is j equal to 1 to c. You do that thing. So that is for this matrix, wherein you have fixed number of rows and fixed number of columns. Now I don't know how many rows, how many columns will be there. So sometimes the column, sometimes it may have 2 columns, sometimes it may have 4 columns, sometimes. So depending upon the row, the column will vary. So you may have 3 columns, 4 columns, 5 columns, 10 columns, and so on. So what I am doing is I am finding the length of each column. So suppose if one column is given to me, I will find what is the length of it. Now I don't have to struggle to find out what is the length of it. Java has a built-in method that says what is the length of it. So I am going to say for the row number 1, that is row with the index 1, what is the length? That is what I am saying. So here if you look at what I have typed over here is for the ith row, I may be 1, I may be 2, I may be 3. For the ith row, what is the length? Okay. So that is what you get. Okay, and then you start printing the values. So you know very well how to print yes out, and you print the values. Now I'm not going to use the ln because I want to get it in one straight line. So I'm going to print the element like mat ij. You have done this in your C program, also done this, plus 1 space, so that the numbers won't come one after the other. So one number, you have the first number printed, and the space second number, and the space third number, and the space also. So you have this space here. So between one number and the other number I need one space. That's what I'm doing. So as it iterates, goes through and again, it will print one number separated by space. Once one row is over, you print one next line. You have to go to the next line. How do you go to the next line? So once one row is over, you write S out. This will print one blank line. So you print, in other words, you print the elements like 5, 6 with the space separation. Once one row is over, go to the next row and print the elements, and maybe the next row element, maybe it may have any number. Remember, it need not be 3, it may have any number of elements. So you keep on printing and you go to the next line. Now that's not the end of it, because we need to find the sum. So let me, you can take the variable sum here itself. So I'm going to just take the variable. It is a local variable. Now generally whenever people use the programming, the convention is you declare the variable right at the beginning. Okay. Can I declare the variable int sum equal to, I can do it, but it's generally a concept. So initialize sum is equal to 0. As you print one element, so remember you are printing, in this case you are printing. So as you are printing 3, 5, 6, as you are printing, so some elements are there in the row. As you are printing one element, that is as you are printing it one element, add it to the sum, add it to the sum, add it to the sum, so that you get, once the full row is over, you get the row sum. So that is what you want. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. As I am printing the element, I will put that value in the sum. Sum is equal to sum plus mat of I comma j. I add them. Then once one row is printed, so you have the element like, okay, some elements are there. I'm going to print, after this I'm going to say sum of, okay, sum is, let's say sum is, and what is this sum? So this is 22, I suppose. So this is So this is 10, 15, 22. So sum of this row is 22. Next row I am going to print like 1, 2, 4, 6, just 2, 4, 5, and then once all the elements are printed, I am going to say sum is. So what is the sum of this one? This is 11. Okay, so I'm going to print all the elements of the row, and once all the elements are printed, I'm going to say what is the sum of that row, and then go to the next line. So let's go here. I have counted all the elements. I have summed all the elements, and I'm going to say here the next thing. Once I'm printing one element at a time. Once all the elements are printed, I will put one space here. That's required, otherwise it will come very close. Sum is, and I'm going to say plus sum. So whichever I'm adding, I'm finding the sum here. I'm going to just say sum is whatever sum I have printed. Okay, that's all you need to do. Well, there is nothing much to be done. Let's go to the main. So in this particular thing does not have the main. Now suppose if you are in love with your notepad or notepad plus, you can write this static void main method directly in this class itself. Whatever I am writing in the other class matrix demo, you can directly write this static void main in this class itself and then execute it. But I am not going to demonstrate using the notepad, because you know very well, if you type it in notepad, you have to add all the import statement and all those things. Unnecessary housekeeping work has to be done, and during the examination, you know very well, time is critical, and you need some help. Definitely, if you forgot something, you need some help. It is not cheating. You know that something is there, but you are not getting it. Okay, and who is going to help you out? Is the NetBeans will help you out. When you put a dot, NetBeans will tell you this is what you wanted to do, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is why I am using the ID. ID will always help you out. Okay, so let's go and let's finish the first part. And what we need here is I need the rows. Okay, and I need the columns. Okay, this is what I need. Okay, row and columns. And also I need to initialize that matrix. Suppose if I say mat and control space, you get this matrix. Okay, so matrix, I'll take is M is equal to new matrix. So I'm calling the constructor of that. So I have it. Also I need a scanner class, because I need to input that. So I'm going to import from the scanner.utilities. Suppose if you are using notepad, see to it that you import this statement, import java.utility.scanner, otherwise it will not work. Okay, scanner sc is equal to new scanner. You don't have to type, control space it, and you get whenever you type half of it and then press control space, that means will help you out with that. And I need input stream. So how do you get the input stream? System dot in. So you get that thing. Now some input statement. So yes out, and I'm going to say enter total number of rows. Okay, now generally I don't like to use the print ln. Ln means new line. I don't want to add that new line, so that it will come in the straight way. So I'm going to say r is equal to sc dot next int. Okay, so I got it. So I'm zooming it out, but NetBeans will always help you out. If you forgot something, NetBeans is there to help you out. So you have the enter the total number of rows is done. Then what is the next thing I am supposed to do? Okay, so I'm going to say for I is equal to 0, I less than the row count, whatever the rows that they have given, you are supposed to input it. Okay, now before you input it, remember, before you put anything into the matrix, first you have to set this particular thing, row count of the matrix. If you don't set the row count of the matrix is uninitialized, and you will have some problem. Now I don't know whether during this time the constructor story is known to you. Otherwise you are supposed to do it the initialization in the constructor. Now let's go to this matrix mat, and I'll go here mat, and then I'm going to say my first one, set the row count. Row count is R. So you get the total number of rows and set that row count of the matrix. So you get something from the user, that is the total number of rows, and you set that total number of rows here. Okay, that is done. Now you start reading the elements into the matrix, and I'm going to ask the user, okay, yes out. Okay, I will just use okay, total elements in row number, okay, and row number I'm going to say plus I plus 1. So how is it going to look like? Remember, you are supposed to put this one I plus 1, otherwise it will take it will concatenate it. Okay, how is it going to appear in your printout? If you type like this, how is it going to appear? Now it is going to appear like this on your printout. It is going to appear like total number of total number of rows. It is okay, total not number, total elements in row number 1, and then I'm going to put this one, row number 1. Okay, some modification. So total number of row elements in the row number 1 is 5. So that means you will have 5 elements in the row. Okay, that's simple as that. Let me slightly beautify this one, total number of this, and after this I'll put the colon. So the colon will appear after this. So it will total number of rows in this. Okay, let me just run and show you. It is not completed. I will stop the execution. So you are going to be given this option, total number of rows. So this one, enter the total number of, there are 4 rows are there in the matrix. What is the meaning of that? So there are 4 rows are there in the matrix. So there are 4 rows are there in the matrix. Then I am asking, in the row number 1, how many elements will be there? Totally how many elements will be there? In the row number 2, totally how many elements will be there? The values may be different. So you may have different values. That is different story altogether. How many columns will be there, or how many elements, total count of elements will be there? That is what I am getting it. If you look at the answer, it is not complete. I have just executed it. So total number of element in the row number 1, you are supposed to type here total number of element in the row number 2, total number of element in the row number 3. So every row, if you look at here, every row, what will be the total number of elements? That is what I am asking from the user. So this is what I am asking from the user. It is not complete. So program is not complete. So I have just executed it just to show you that this is what it's going to appear. Now I'm going to get the elements one after the other. So first of all, let me read that C here. Okay, and what is this? How do I read this? SC is my scanner class. You know very well. I created a scanner class here. From that I am going to do, and you know very well. In order to read, you say next int. Okay, by now you are familiar with that. Then I am going to use one more for loop. For j is equal to 0, j less than c, and I am reading the element. Okay, just to give one message. Okay, yes out and say enter, and I'm going to say plus c plus okay, element values, or enter 5 values to or enter numbers, let's say. So that will be good. Enter 5 numbers, enter 3 numbers, enter 4 numbers, whatever it is, enter some numbers. Okay, so that is how it's going to appear. I'm going to read one number. For that I need an array. Now if you look at here, what are all these things? Even though they are columns, no doubt, they are individual arrays. They are arrays. This is also an array. You know, in C you have studied. These are all arrays. So let's create a array variable and then put all the values into it. How do I create a array? Now again, you can create array directly here, int array, but as a good programmer, we are supposed to create the variables right at the top. So int array, Java does not say that you are supposed to create the variable there. You can create the variable wherever you want and wherever the need is there. But a convention, you just create at the top. So you have an array. Okay. Now before you jump into creating and putting an element into the array, you just initialize it. You say arr is equal to new int of C. You initialize the array. So what did you do? Remember, when you declare array arr, it is just a pointer. In C you have studied a pointer. Now you have to allocate the values. So you have to say there are 5 elements. So produce 5 blank cells or produce 4 blank cells. The values you can enter later, but you have to say how many. So you create the blank place here. So it is like when you execute this statement. When you execute this statement, that is arr is equal to new something. So depending upon the value of C, you will have a blank array that is created like this. So you have a blank array with 4 element or 5, depending upon the value of C, you will get those many blank columns. Within this blanks, once you get this blank columns over here, then you type the values, whatever value you want, you type those values. Okay, so any value you can type it. So you have created the blank first, and now you enter one value into it. How do I enter the value into it? You say arr of j, remember it is not I, is equal to sc is my scanner class. You know very well, I created a scanner class here, sc dot next int. It's as simple as that. Okay, once you have created one element, so suppose you have created you have filled all the elements, then put it to the matrix. How do you put it back to the matrix? Is very simple. My matrix is mat, and I'm going to say set the elements. So I wrote the method set the element. For which row? For the jth row, you set this array. So for the jth row, whichever the row is there, suppose if this is the jth row, set this array. For this row, get this array. So as simple as that. So you create an array, okay, and you set that array to the corresponding row. Whichever row number that you are giving, it's going to set that row. So you keep on doing it. Okay, so you set the array. We get an error here. Oh, okay, for the not for the jth row, I'm going to say for the ith row, not this is not j, sorry, this is the ith row, j is the column. So here that's why I got an error. So you have this I is the column, I, these are all, I is the row number, j is the column. So these are all j's and these are all i's. So you have for the ith row, sorry that I said jth row, for the ith row you set the value. So simple as that. For the ith row you set the value. So once this for loop is over, look at here. So once this main for loop is over, so you can always check which is this for loop by clicking on the last closing bracket. When you click on this closing bracket, it says this is the for loop. If you click here, it says this is the for loop. Okay, I'm going to now print. Finally, I'm going to print the matrix. So I'm going to say mat dot, and you have row set row count. I'm sorry, not set row count. Sorry, what was that? The row wise sum. Okay, the row wise sum. That's it. With this, finally, you give the row wise sum. With this, everything is done. Let's run and see what you have it. So I'm going to say there are 4 number of rows in the matrix, and it is going to say enter the total elements in the row. Now you may notice that it is coming down because I have put print ln. That print ln, if you look at this total number of rows, that print ln is not really required. Okay, I will continue. I'm sorry, I will continue with that. Okay, but I think I will stop and I will remove that print ln. Now, that print ln, sometimes it is very good, but if you are not very careful, this one I want it in the same line. So if you just remove ln, and it is going to come in the same line. Now what's the difference? If you look at what's the difference, when you run the program, you notice everything is same. You get the same thing. Total number of rows is 4, and you see that it is not going to the next line. So everything will come in the same line. That's why I'm using this print. If you use print ln, it will take you to the next line. Total number of elements in the row. Let me say there are 3 elements in the first row. So what is the meaning of typing 3 here? There are 3 elements here. If you say there are 2 elements, I can type 3, I can type 2, I can type anything. So let me type 2 here itself. So there are 2 elements in the row. Now the next thing it's going to say enter the 2 elements. Now I think I have again messed up. This time I'm not going to disturb you. I think I have again used this print ln. You notice that print ln. Now whenever you use this print ln, it will take you to the next line. That the output will not appear neat. Okay, I am disturbed by that. It is not going to show a neat output, but the program is going to work fine. Let's take 2 elements, 3 and 4. It's going to say what are the total number of elements in the second row. Now if you look at this one, in the second row we have 4 elements. The values may be different, okay, 4 elements, but I'm going to just use 4 elements. So total number of elements in the row is 4, and enter 4 elements, 7, 8, anything. The values need not be same. Okay, next one, it's going to say what is the total number of elements. There are 3 elements. You notice that there are 3 elements are there. So I'm going to say here total number of elements in the row 3 are 3. Anything, you can say 1 and 2 and 3. 3 elements, or you can say 10, 20, 30. Values need not be same. Okay. Next one, how many, let's assume that 2 elements are there. Okay, so then 45, 67, anything you can say. 4 rows are there. You said there are 4 rows are there, and for all the 4 rows, first row, second row, third row, fourth row, you have entered varied number of elements. So this is what you've done. Press enter. it's going to show you the first row. Sum is this one, 3 and 4. First row has an element 3 and 4. This is the sum. Second row you have 7, 5, 3 and 2. The sum is 17. You don't need to count them because the machine knows how to count them, and so on. Now this looks neat, but only a small problem is I don't want a enter sign. I want them to come in straight line so that everything appear neat. And also before I print something, I'm going to put one heading. Your program is already done, but some formatting, there is marks for formatting. If you read the evaluation here, there is execution and formatting. There is marks for formatting. 3 marks are given for formatting. Suppose in the previous examination, if you didn't get the marks, you have not formatted it. That's why you are not getting the marks. Now few neat things. Before I print the row wise sum, I'm going to say yes out, and I'm going to say sum of the row wise sum. Row wise sum is dot. Okay, this let it be print line, and somewhere I lost the print line, and that is here. Sum, I don't want ln here. Not always, ln is not always required. Ln means print line. That will take you to the next line. I don't want it to take you to the next line. Let me give the final version. Let's run it, and this time everything is neat, clean and neat. So let's say total number of rows are 4. It's going to say how many elements are there in the first row. There are 3 elements are there. So which are 3 elements? You notice that I removed this ln from this line. So I removed ln from here, and that's why it is coming in the straight in front of it. So you can type the element then and there. 10 and 20 are the elements. In the second 3 elements were there. Sorry, as I talk, I just forgot the talking and typing is a bit difficult, but it appears. If I have not accidentally typed enter here, it would have appeared in the straight part. Let me put 4 elements, and I won't talk much. So 4 elements are there. So 7, 8, 1 and 3, 4 elements. Total number of elements in the row number 2 is 4, and I have typed 4 elements, and I press enter. You see how neat it is going to appear. Now here I have accidentally typed enter, that's why it is taking to the next line. So in the row number 3, that is the third row, I'm going to say 2 elements are there. So which are the 2 elements? 31 and 45. You can type any element. In the row number 4, 5 elements are there. Which are the 5 elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the values. Okay, these are the values. This is the row number. So the row number 4, you have 5 elements are there. That's all. When you press enter, you notice that row wise sum is first row. You had 10, 20 and 30. I accidentally typed enter there. So 10, 20 and 30, and the sum is 16. And the second row you have let me zoom in for you. So you have the first row here. So first row has 3 element. Notice that 3 element, even though I have accidentally typed here, 3 elements were there. So 10, 20, and I accidentally typed enter here, that's why it is. In the second row there are 4 elements are there. So you have 4 elements, 8, 7, 8, 1 and 3, and that is it. You have 7, 8, 1 and 3. In the row number 3 you have 2 elements, and there are 2 elements are there, and you notice there are 2 elements are there, and their sum you can notice. In the fourth row, this is the fourth row, there are 5 elements are there, and these are the 5 elements that I have typed, and these are the 5 elements that I have typed, and you can notice their sum. That's all in this video. I will stop the video now. Thank you for watching this video.